Welcome to MMA On The Rise. We're here in Charlotte, North Carolina for Fight Lab 25 at Coyote Joe's. It's race week and there's an Earnhardt in the house. Jeffrey Earnhardt makes his MMA debut. I'm with the master of cool, Kevin Ferrant.
Hey Tom, Fight Lab is done it again, putting together another fantastic card. We got undefeated Blaine Thomas facing off against undefeated Drew Kennedy. Also, one of the most highly anticipated fights of the year, Roger the Leprechaun Carroll facing off against John Buck Nasty.
Lots of extra media attention to this one due to Earnhardt in the house. Can't wait to see it. You stay tuned to MMA On The Rise. Tom Ziegler with MMA On The Rise, bringing you the best in mixed martial arts and combat sports. Tonight we have our co-main event from Fight Lab 25 in Charlotte, North Carolina at Coyote Joe's. We've got two undefeated fighters, the best fighters in this region, between Blaine Thomas and Drew Kennedy. Back and forth action, both fighters on huge winning streaks, blew the roof off of the place. Stay tuned. This fight is brought to you by Any Lab Test Now.
All the best fighters get their blood working. Any Lab Test Now.
Over 150 convenient locations. Spotter panels include HIV, hepatitis B and C.
Only $89. No doctor's orders needed.
In and out 15 minutes.
Fighting is in your blood. Make sure nothing else is.
Bring me out of the blue corner, Drew Kennedy.
MMA On The Rise in conjunction with 3 Wide Life. I'm your host Tom Ziegler, along with the Fight Tech Paul Boo and Tony the Ninja Daddy Tan, here for the co-main event of the evening for Fight Lab 25 at Coyote Joe's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Walking in right now, we got Drew Kennedy at a perfect 3-0 as a pro, all finishes, all submission. He had I believe a 9-2 record as an amateur, so only 2 losses as an amateur, a phenomenal amateur record, and now he's 3-0 as a pro. He's definitely a submission guy. He comes out of Knoxville, Tennessee, is where he's fighting out of. I've actually, one of his guys in his corner, Josh Kate, I've actually had some experience with him in the past. He used to compete in tournaments years ago. I'm not sure if it's a teammate or a coach, but a very good grappler himself. This guy is the real deal. 3-0 with a 9-2 record as an amateur. He's fighting a really tough opponent in Blaine Thomas, who's also a submission expert. This is definitely going to be an interesting fight because both of these guys have a very high submission rate.
Yeah, they're both almost mirror images of each other. They're both very tall, lanky, 170-pounders, and both on long fight streaks going back to their amateur careers. Looks like Drew Kennedy has a 7-fight win streak going back to his amateur days. Same thing with Blaine Thomas. He's got a 9-fight win streak. So both these guys come in with huge momentum.
In the red corner, DJ A-Rod, bring to me Blaine Thomas.
All right, here comes Blaine Thomas. Originally, he's listed out of West Virginia. I believe he's based in North Carolina now. He's been here for a while. He is, like you said, coming off of a very long win streak. He has got, over his entire career, has 81% finish rate due to submission. This is another submission virtuoso. This guy submits everybody. This is going to be a very interesting fight to see where this fight goes. Both of them being submission guys. They both have some wins due to stoppages, due to strikes. They also both have some wins due to knockouts. You know, this fight could go anywhere, but both of these guys are very legitimate pros. They're some of the top guys in the Southeast. This is going to be a very highly contested fight at 170.
Yeah, it's the co-main event of the evening. The 5-0 pro record of Blaine Thomas against the 3-0 pro record of Drew Kennedy. Somebody's must go. It's going to happen here tonight.
If this fight goes the distance, it will be the first time for either of these guys as a pro. So both finishers in the cage right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. 3 5-minute rounds in the Fight Lab Professional welterweight division. 2 undefeated young men. Somebody must get punched in the eye, and somebody's got to lose. First, standing to my left, this young man comes to us from Knoxville, Tennessee. He is a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He stands 6 feet 1 inches and weighed in at 170.5 pounds. With an unblemished professional record of 3 wins versus 0 losses. Representing Pinnacle MMA, give it up for the Hammer, Drew Kennedy. And now, the young man standing to my right. This young man is also a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He comes to us from Charlotte, North Carolina. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 171 pounds even, with an unblemished professional record of 5 wins versus 0 losses, representing Renegade Fighting Systems. Give it up for the big game, Blaine Thomas.
Michael Cornbread Allen with the introductions.
Coley will be giving the instructions.
Blaine Thomas, clearly the fan favorite here.
All right, gentlemen, remember the instructions in the dressing room. Take serves at all times, obey my commands at all times. Do I have any questions? Touch them up if you wish. Best of luck.
Al Coley, your referee in the ring.
Here we go with round 1.
Now, Blaine Thomas, I've seen him fight several times before, and he's got this thing he does where he'll actually, well, he's not doing it now, he'll back away to lure a guy in and throw a heavy right hand. But he's being very aggressive.
Kennedy went for a push kick, and Thomas just kind of sidestepped and took his back.
Yeah, it didn't take long for these 2 jiu-jitsu practitioners to make it to the ground.
Thomas wants to watch out for up kicks from Kennedy, which are now legal in the pro division.
This is a pro fight, like you said, and those up kicks can be very dangerous. Now, Blaine Thomas is a very, very tall fighter, so you know, he's going to have a hard time reaching Blaine's face.
They also say Kennedy is also 6'1", which is not exactly short by any means.
For sure, for sure.
Kennedy was putting the pressure on him.
Yeah, Kennedy momentarily went for a leg lock, possibly knee bar. Thomas easily recognizes and defends. Now settles in Drew's guard. See what these 2 guys do here.
Now, I looked for this to be a somewhat active grappling game, whereas in some of the other fights earlier tonight, you had a little bit of a stalemate. Both these guys being heavy submission guys, you would expect that there would be a lot of submission attempts, but you never know in MMA. Sometimes people are a little scared to go for the submission attempts because they're afraid to give up control.
Yeah, the strikes definitely change things.
Now, there you go right there. Kennedy right now is working for an armbar. He's actually got his leg over. And actually, Blaine is doing a good job about stacking it in, but he is still in danger. Blaine is trying to basically back his left elbow out from in between the legs of Kennedy.
Probably not a good move on Blaine. He actually moved Kennedy into the fence, and Kennedy used that to his advantage.
Yeah, and actually he's standing up over top of Kennedy and trying to pull the arm out, which it'd be in his best interest to actually stack him. And it looks like Kennedy, well, Blaine's out now.
And Blaine is cut. I see blood.
Yeah, he was, Kennedy was throwing some strikes while he had that arm bar in, and I think he cut Blaine Thomas.
Yeah, I think he landed an elbow to the temple or the top of the head of Blaine. So Paul, when you see blood in a fight, do you think that kind of changes momentum at all?
I mean, for some guys, yeah. Some guys, they actually will get a little panicky when they see blood. You know, it definitely, I think it has an effect on the judging. Not completely, but when the judges see blood and they see one guy's cut more than the other, if it's a close round, it can have an effect on how they judge
Thomas
the round.
working an Americana.
The visual damage you were saying.
Now he's going straight armbar. Oh my goodness.
It was close.
That was tight. He transitions very sweetly to an armbar, belly down.
Now Kennedy is going to basically fight this armbar. He's going to try to walk around the legs of Blaine Thomas or walk over the head. Blaine's trying to block that right now. Blaine does have a cut on over his right eye. It actually looks to be a pretty deep cut. Blaine rolls
transition.
over.
Oh, he's got it tight. He's got it tight.
Oh, he tapped right there.
It looked like
I thought he tapped, yes. Being tapped there, it looks like it's going to be close soon.
He's still defending. Still defending.
Oh.
The flexibility in Drew Kennedy's elbow.
It looked like there was a tap there, but I guess there wasn't. But
yeah, I agree. I thought I saw a tap too. Blaine goes quickly, takes them out. Kennedy gives up his back.
Amazing that he couldn't finish that. That was very deep and very tight.
Actually, I think he did finish it. The referee just missed it.
I don't know. You know, Kennedy kept fighting, and sometimes a guy will react and he'll grab and it'll look like a tap. Now Kennedy scrambles up to Blaine Thomas's back. Now this puts Blaine in a very bad position. He's dropping that right hand right on that cut.
Yeah, that cut is not exactly pretty.
Yeah, it's not in a good place. It could be potentially bleeding down into the eye, which could affect Blaine Thomas's vision, which could affect the outcome of this fight for sure.
Going for the choke.
Now this is a 5-minute round. I'm not sure where we're at in the clock right now, but Blaine is going to have to be careful with that cut with Kennedy on top of him.
A lot of good grappling here, but like you said, those strikes do change the game.
Yeah, these guys have transitioned back and forth from position to position, several submission attempts. This is very impressive so far.
I think I've lost count of how many elbows were thrown between the two.
Yeah, for sure. Again, like we were talking about, pro fights, elbows do change things. I mean, it changes how you grapple a little bit in the clinch work and a lot on the ground.
That was a very nice elbow by Drew Kennedy just a few moments ago.
Rarely do elbows finish the fight due to knockout, but they cut. And with those cuts, you can get the fight stopped due to the damage, but also, too, sometimes it causes problems with the vision of the fighter, with the blood going into the eyes.
I'm Kenneth the Pick Crowder, and when I'm not knocking ears off, I'm watching MMA on the Rise.
Really highly contested round. Both fighters had their moments. Very close submission attempt by Blaine Thomas. However, Drew Kennedy dominated that position towards the end and landed some nice elbows.
Kennedy was definitely targeting that eye of Thomas at the end of that round.
Yeah, Kennedy also had an armbar submission attempt of his own, and that's when Blaine actually got cut. He was landing elbows while he was in the armbar position. Really great back and forth grappling. Good skills thrown by both fighters. This is good.
Definitely a very technical fight. Like, this is what we expected, both these guys being submission guys. But they're working all the way around. They're really working the striking inside. It is mostly a grappling game, but they are working the striking heavily.
In between rounds, Kennedy chose not to sit down in between rounds. Do you think that'll have an effect? You know, looking across from the other cage, you know, you're sitting down, you see your opponent standing up.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's done for intimidation factor. Some guys don't feel like they can breathe as well sitting down. So sometimes it's just it expands the lungs to stand up. So it's just a matter of choice, really. I don't know if it affects the psychology of the guy too much. It could, I guess, if it looks very fresh.
Round 2 is underway. Both fighters looking for that chance to strike. Blaine Thomas with a nice right hand. He's got Kennedy in trouble.
Al Coley's taking a very close look at this.
Nice 2-1-2 there by Blaine Thomas.
Blaine, you know, surprisingly stopped with the strikes. I think he could have actually finished that. Al Coley was looking at that if he would continue to strike. But it's like he stopped and decided to go for position, and I think he lost an opportunity there.
He was landing some shots to the back of the head, so I think he was a little worried about the referee stopping and him losing that position.
It looks like there's a lot of blood on the face of Kennedy now. It could be coming down from Blaine Thomas, but I actually think Kennedy's nose is bleeding pretty bad as well.
Yeah, Blaine hit him with a nice right hand that actually dropped him against the cage.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but like Blaine is doing now, you want to use every piece of your body to hit. He landed a shoulder while he was on top to try to pass the guard. There goes Kennedy off that fence again. If I were Blaine, I would probably pull Kennedy away from that fence so he doesn't use that.
Now Kennedy looks like he's trying to set up a triangle there. And Blaine sees it. He's controlling the foot. He's actually going for a leg lock.
Yeah, he's got an Achilles lock. It slips out.
He's just switching over to
a foot lock.
And just a little too slippery. A little too slippery.
Yeah, he missed it.
Looks like Kennedy's going for more of his own.
Well defended by Blaine Thomas.
But he eats a big right hand.
He sure does.
Big right hand from Kennedy. Neither one of these guys have any quit in them. They're both just fighting to the end. Neither one, every time one of them starts to make some ground, the other one turns it around and lands some of their own.
It looks like Kennedy's going for a
foot lock of his own. It's actually a reverse foot lock. Very dangerous on the knee. Blaine escapes, going for a single.
If Kennedy can break the grip, he could probably go to the back. Goes for a switch. A lot of transitioning back and forth. You can tell the skill level of grappling from both of these guys.
Yeah, excellent fight so far. The co-main event living up to the hype.
Knee by Thomas.
And there's a scramble there. They kind of both lost their balance, and Blaine Thomas ends up on top inside the guard of Kennedy.
I'm not sure if that was a Sumigase-style sacrifice throw attempt by Thomas, but it worked out for him.
It looked like he was, it almost looked like it was an accidental slip and he was able to roll it over, but.
Yeah, as you get tired, your scramble attempts kind of take a dive in the.
Yeah, definitely. The scrambles, and some of those takedowns are really based on athleticism, which your cardio and your wind plays a big part of that. So later in the fight, some of those don't always go as planned.
Kennedy looks like he's working a feet and hip guard there.
Kennedy's trying to work his foot in there. He could be trying to set up a triangle or a sweep. Blaine is
push away and stand up. Blaine Thomas is going to let him.
Yeah, it looks like Blaine wanted that stand up.
And there goes some blood.
Yeah, that actually looked like a mouthpiece, but
that's
it actually
what I thought too until it hit the mat.
Wow, that was actually just kind of coagulated blood there.
Drew Kennedy goes for a guillotine attempt. Blaine slips out easily.
Good elbows from the bottom by Kennedy.
Yeah, he really is landing some good elbows all night long. He's got a shoulder locked up. He can definitely set up a submission here.
It looks like he's trying to set up a triangle, potentially an armbar. Blaine sees it, is able to turn the corner.
Yeah, at this level, with good grappling, comes good grappling defense.
He actually has an armbar right there. He's going for it. He's got it tight. He's got it. He's got it. That's it.
That's nasty.
I saw him set that up, cross it over, and I don't think Blaine saw it. He thought he was going for a triangle, and I saw that arm go across, and I had a feeling he was going to go for it, and he did, and that was it.
That was a very high-level armbar by Drew Kennedy. Excellent, excellent stuff.
It's basically set up off a double armbar setup that kind of disguises itself as a triangle.
fantastic fight. The co-main event living up to the hype.
Definitely, that fight definitely lived up to the hype. Both of these guys have nothing to be ashamed of. They put on a war out there. Both guys really worked their rear end off. You know, but I got to say, Kennedy, that was very slick what he put on there at the end. Blaine just didn't see it coming. He thought he was going for something else, thought he was safe. And that's a pretty slick submission set up to the use. And, you know, if you see it, it's pretty relatively easy to defend, but Blaine saw it too late.
Yeah. Blaine obviously still disappointed with himself, but I mean, he put on a hell of a fight.
Yeah, it was a great fight. Back and forth action. Both fighters had their moments. Blaine Thomas had several submission attempts of his own that were very close. He almost could have finished it several times. Fantastic fight. Best I've seen in some time around here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is called to a stop. 3 minutes and 53 seconds into the second round. Your winner by armbar, the Hammer, Drew Kennedy.
And there you have it. Drew Kennedy gets the submission win. Fantastic fight in our co-main event. I'm Tom Ziegler with Paul Boo and Tony Tan with MMA On The Rise in conjunction with 3 Wide Life. Stay tuned for our main event of the evening.
Thanks for watching another exciting episode of MMA On The Rise. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at MMAOTR.
You can also like us on Facebook.
You can also visit us at MMAOnTheRise.tv.
And now you can follow us on Twitter at MMAOTR.
We'll see you next time on MMA On The Rise.